Did you know that before he was a world-renowned theologian and the man credited with starting the Protestant Reformation, Martin Luther was once an ordinary guy who just wanted to do his best to live a good life? Well, not exactly. Let me explain. Before he was a friar, before he was a professor at a university, and before he was a man who would change the course of history forever, Martin Luther was a young boy growing up in Germany in the late 1400s. His father was a strict man who wanted his son to follow in his footsteps and become a lawyer. But from the time he was young, Luther had other plans. He wanted to be a monk. Now, this wasn't some kind of vocational whim. Luther had been deeply moved by the life of an ascetic hermit monk named John Tauler, whom he had heard speak when he was just a child. And ever since then, he felt called to religious life. So despite his father's wishes, Luther went to a monastery and became a monk. But much to his own surprise, he soon found the life of a monk incredibly boring. The services were long and repetitive, the rules were strict, and there was very little opportunity for intellectual stimulation. To make matters worse, Luther had always been a very emotional person, but the monastery was a very stoic environment, which made him feel even more alienated. In his free time, he would escape to his room and read the Bible for hours. This was actually a good thing because it sparked his interest in theology. And before long, he began to question some of the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. For example, he didn't think it was right that people could pay to have their sins forgiven. And he believed that salvation was a free gift from God that could not be earned through good works or paid for through indulgences. He also started to think that the Bible was the ultimate authority in matters of faith, not the Pope or any other church official. Now, these were all heretical ideas at the time, and if anyone had known about them, Luther could have been put to death. So he kept all of this to himself. He eventually became a professor at a university and married a former nun named Catherine von Bohrer. They had 6 children together, and he continued to write books and pamphlets anonymously, criticizing the church. One day, he wrote a document called the 95 Theses, which attacked the practice of selling indulgences. He posted it on the door of a church and invited anyone who was interested to debate it with him. The document quickly spread throughout Europe, and people began to look to Luther as a hero who was bravely standing up against the corrupt church. And that's why